So, yeah, going back into splat zones on Sturgeon, definitely there's usually either baller or bubble or both because it's very hard to kind of get in on this mode. But sometimes, sometimes it actually gets really chaotic in the middle and it's just like a constant, struggle to hold the zone. So it'll be interesting to see how these teams play it out, especially because, with the less experience that we've been seeing, people aren't playing it as aggressive on zones as you do see from top teams. So I could definitely see things going, multiple directions here.
I completely agree with you. I'm really excited to see this too. What I really love about this map also is that under area of the bridge where you can kind of hide out and just wait and shark for someone to come in. And, we've seen it happen in a lot of different tournaments, so I'm looking forward to kind of see this go again.
Yeah, that's definitely a favorite spot for people like rollers and sloshers and, whatever else that does really well with shooting around those corners. So we actually got a charger coming out from the green team here, which I believe is, oh my gosh, I'm totally failing right now. Euphoria.
Yeah.
So yeah, looks like early paint advantage here coming for Euphoria. The charger gets a nice pick there, so now they're going to be able to get the zone to get this initial control started, but they are taking quite a long time to get this going. This should be 3 points, but they're not quite getting it. There we go.
There you go. I think that chargers are really good on this map because you do have that great snipe location that you can kind of set up. And that was a great assist there with those burst bombs and that blaster shot coming in.
Ooh, that was a nice direct, but wasn't able to clean up the kill. Let's see if his teammates is going to be able to... Oh, nice direct there on the inkjet. That's a double kill, and that makes 3 down there for Euphoria here. So Wonderland struggling a little bit to paint the zone off the back of that, and now Euphoria is already back in, and they're not quite able to get the zone.
Yeah, Wonderland does finally take it and put a little bit of a penalty on the side of Euphoria, but really probably not what they want, as Euphoria is working on breaking their way back in. They do get a nice splat there that's going to kind of help them, but the inkjet's coming out again. As we saw before, that inkjet was really tight.
Yeah, thanks to a couple not quite so accurate shots there from that inkjet, the Nanu was able to clean them up, and now they're on the offensive here, pushing into their base.
Yeah, it looks like this is kind of the way that this map goes to. That right away you have one person in zone, making sure that everything goes and stays the way that it should be. And it looks like, though, Wonderland was able to kind of break out and force control. Yeah,
that rapid blaster got picked off before he was able to use the inkjet or the inkstorm there, so they didn't really get the benefit of that special. And now it's a 3v2 situation here for Wonderland, and they're looking like they're going to be sitting pretty here, especially with this blaster pushing the court. Not quite able to get the kill there, with Charger getting a nice clutch kill, and now bomb rushing from the right side.
Yeah, and that's kind of exactly where they want to be there. To set things up. So it looks like finally Euphoria is able to kind of break zone away from Wonderland, but the Inkstorm coming out, Inkstorm on both sides?
Yeah, both people using their Inkstorm at the same time there. Katya, the only one able to really influence the zone here because the Tenatech is on the other side of the map trying to deal with the 3 people rushing the middle here, but neither team in control of the zone here. Charger trying to go for a pick, not quite able to get it, but now Euphoria finally gets the zone.
Yeah, and their penalty is not so bad that they can, if they are able to hold this for a little while, they will be able to break that down rather fast to kind of take lead here because they don't have a lot to go. So this is something that they're definitely going to be going for. In zone, though, is a couple of members of Wonderland, and they are able to kind of force it out of Euphoria's hands. So
wow, Gold making a very clutch kill there, able to stop the enemy team from getting the zone there, and now Euphoria takes back the lead here. Gold doing huge plays for the team right there.
Yeah, this is where that charger is super, super relevant on this map. Able to kind of get those picks from really far away.
Picks off the inkjet instantly.
Beautiful.
Now Gold's on the offensive here. That's 2 down for the enemy team. Roundy, though, is able to zone him back. Not quite able to get the zone yet, and that's the penalty refresh there, giving Wonderland a little bit of breathing room here. And now they got the Inkstorm to push him back even further. So this is looking pretty good here for Wonderland.
Yeah, this is exactly kind of what they wanted there. Throwing those, those auto bombs, working their way to kind of push in. They're definitely inking into the pit side of Euphoria and pushing into their base with those 2 members. So this is like where they want them. But Euphoria is coming in from that right-hand side. That's going to kind of work their way. Mary, like, waiting for an opportunity to push forward, and they do force control away from Wonderland for a second. See if they can take it. They do.
That was actually a really well coordinated take back right there from Wonderland. Nobody would like nothing you would expect like lower tier teams to kind of just rush in there, but they all waited for each other. They all went in together and got 3 down there, and were able to just take the zone and with 15 points to spare, which was great.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Having that inkjet come out too is kind of pushing back. Wonderland does take the zone, and they're working on their own kind of coordinated push, because they were definitely working to make sure that they were ready to push forward together as a team.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as clean as the one coming from Euphoria, but it was definitely just as effective. Oh man, the inkjet, they're able to clean up the attendant tech from Wonderland, and now they're pushing back into the base here. Man, these takebacks are going so quickly for both teams, and this is actually looking like a penalty refresh here. Yep. So now that's 2 down on the side of Wonderland, with the rest of the team just trying to fight for the zone here.
Yeah, and this is like coming down really slow to time because Euphoria does have the lead. They don't have a lot of time to work towards it, and that is game.
Yep, nice game there from both teams, really, because both teams were showing that they were able to patiently push into the zone together. Not something you see like all that often against lower tier with lower tier teams. So these guys are definitely practicing, definitely communicating, and it's a very good thing to see.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And, it's so much fun to watch, too. Especially right now, we're in kind of round 5 here, going into these really fun, to me, map mode combination here. I can't wait to see kind of what they do for the next game.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see that Dynamo again, just because, Dynamo can be very powerful on this map. It's not quite as potent as it was back in Splatoon 1 for Culp Dome, but definitely getting on the grates there and just constantly throwing out, horizontal hitboxes can cause a ton of pressure on the enemy team. So I fully expect, I think it was Euphoria that ran it. Or wait, no, it was Wonderland. Wonderland ran it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's going to be fun to see. And it's always great when you see, kind of a Dynamo working towards that, like in Clam Blitz almost, because it's not really a weapon that you expect because it's known as sort of slow. Mm-hmm. And Clam Blitz is a very fast mode. But we haven't really seen any brushes in Clam Blitz yet, and I know Kendall was kind of talking about that a little bit. But it's really going to be so much fun to see if maybe somebody does pull one out for this one. Yeah,
the thing about brushes is that kind of fell out of favor a few months into like the metagame of Clam Blitz, because it's not as good as things like Baller at getting in, mm-hmm. and like the thing it does well is it does a really good job of just like getting cheesy clams in, but it isn't very good at actually like getting strong like multiple big clam pushes. And right now, at least, that's it's not a very good strategy, because every time you just throw a clam in, that gives the enemy team one big clam to use against you as well. So they get just as many points as you do every time you do that. So you don't see it quite as often as you used to, as you did at first. The Dynamo does come back there from Katya, and no ink brushes from either team there. So Noob running the Rapid Blaster. Coming from Euphoria here, so it's going to be a lot of pressure on Noob there to kind of keep the enemy team zoned out.
Yeah, and I'm happy to see the Slosher Deco there with the Baller, because, as I said earlier, definitely something that you want, like you mentioned too, running in with Ball for Clam Blitz is definitely something that you want to see and that we have been continuing to see.
There's a nice early double there from the Slosher on Euphoria's side, but they just they get that enough clams for the push here, but there's no follow-up, which means that's a kind of a risky clam. I definitely always say that the first clam is the most important, but it's usually you want to have the first clam and even just like one other clam.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This is where kind of this idea of like solo queue clams comes in there. A little bit of that where you're just sort of pushing forward and not really paying attention to what the rest of your team has, because they were out there all alone. So coming in, finally looks like there are almost 2 power clams on the side of that's Euphoria on that side, or Wonderland on the yellow, right?
Yeah, Wonderland is the yellow. So looking at it here, I don't see the power clam that Euphoria should have gotten for free there, which means that somehow it got burned, which is interesting to note because that means that initial power clam becomes way more valuable for Euphoria now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's that ball.
That baller kind of shutting down the Slosher there, but they're still going to be able to push in here, it looks like, and now they get their own push here. Yeah, that was a really good sacrifice play, and now that's 2 clams in for the yellow team here, and there's a third one ready to go if they're able to push past all 4 of Euphoria here.
Oh man, I guess that they were looking to think, could they go the other way? I think the power clam is too heavy to be tossed from mid. Am I correct?
Yeah, that can't be tossed from mid. Its range isn't quite as much as the little clams. The little clams only barely makes it too. It's actually not the easiest throw to make, especially if you're getting pressured at all.
Yeah, I think that they're definitely working to make sure that they do have these. Oh, Inkjet popping under the grates. Not the easiest way to get away. Does go down.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a panic Inkjet there. If they did get the direct, though, that would have been pretty sick. But now they got the bubble push coming in for Euphoria here. Only 10 points away from the lead with the big clam jumping in, and then they have some follow-up clams from the little ones here. So 3 down is going to end the push, but that's a nice lead. And that does mean, though, that they didn't get past 40, which means that Wonderland only needs to run into big clams here. So the Slosher here able to build their own, and then they also get the freebie. So all they need to do is get these 2 in, and they take the lead back.
Yeah, I think that this is kind of what they're going for here. There's enough clams there for them to build up a third too. So if they can get that pick on the Inkjet,
that hard denial right there
Yikes.
from Mary is going to be able to shut that down. Slosher trying to make the best of this poor situation, but not going to be able to do that when 2 enemy members are there.
No way. That was a very, very tough shot there. And that's why Inkjet has become so powerful lately. Getting those shots, even watching that replay is painful.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was one of them must have been weak because I don't think you can double direct, but if that's the case, that's the first collateral I've seen with Inkjet.
Yeah, and here we go. Looks like we have a member of Wonderland coming in, going for that clam there. Looks a little bit like out of desperation because there's no other team members there to kind of continue moving forward. So they are going to get another penalty, which means that they need another 2 power clams to take lead.
Yeah, I was going to say that if Wonderland, that was seemed like a bad decision, but if Wonderland was able to follow up with those top mid little clams, it would have been fine. But nobody was in position to do that, so all that was is a penalty clear, and that brings them down to 10. It definitely not worth it because that gives Euphoria a clam. But with that Inkjet knocking that clam away, maybe that'll burn that, and maybe that makes that a little bit of a brighter scenario for them.
Yeah, I think that at this point, Wonderland, looking to has that baller ready. As long as they don't go down and they are able to build another power clam, which doesn't really seem like what they're kind of going for here. Mary gets a nice pick there, trying to play a little bit of defense.
Yeah, the baller got shut down by 3 people there, just instantly died. And that is going to delay any push from Wonderland here to get back in. Euphoria able to push out of their base now, and they're being a little slow about it. I think they're probably being a little too safe here, but they do have the bubbles to kind of defend themselves here, and only 5 seconds to go is going to be kind of tough for Wonderland.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely Euphoria's match, and they did a great job, playing defense at the end there. As Wonderland was trying, but just unsuccessful.
Yeah, Wonderland, I mean, the biggest thing there was Wonderland wasn't able to build that clam that they needed to kind of get that overtime. If they were a little more patient with the clam they threw in before, they might have been able to use that more effectively. Mm-hmm. But, overall, it was just, Euphoria kind of playing a little bit better at Clam Blitz.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of kind of that was if you saw that one member of Wonderland hadn't played any Clam Blitz ranked at all.
At all. Okay.
At all. Dashes.
Dashes. Well, I know there's some people that do that on principle, but...
That's what I was wondering, yeah. And, but even still, you have to play it in a tournament setting, so I hope that they're playing League and they have a little bit of practice there.
Or this is the first time they've done it in tournament. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, so they've had to have played it at least once to get this far.
This far, yeah.
But, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, it's definitely fun to watch, too, with all those things. That replay of that inkjet shot. Oh
2-for-1 inkjet, man.
That's rough. So going into our next game here, our third game in the set, it looks like we're going to be on tower control at Macomart. And I was just thinking we hadn't seen one of these yet. So I'm really excited to see this map played.
Yeah, this is actually another good, really, really, really good one for Dynamo. Dynamo has a really good, really easy job of being able to harass tower at the first checkpoint, and being on tower at the first checkpoint when you're playing aggressive, you're able to pretty much zone back anybody who tries to stop you from that left side. So it does a really good job here, and potentially if Katya brings that back in, it's going to be good for them.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that this is kind of the opportunity that they have to kind of break out, and this is what they're going for. Game 3, this is what they want to win. So
yeah, I mean, Wonderland absolutely needs to take this game, obviously. If they don't take this, that's going to put them in a really precarious scenario trying to get out of this group stage here for next week. So Wonderland's really wanting to take this at least a game, because I think for tiebreaker scenarios, taking the game out would be better for them as well.
I agree. I'm looking at this standing here as we go into this game 3.
Katya does bring out that Dynamo. Gold bringing out the custom jet sculpture, so looks like they're going to have the Stingray ready to go. No Stingray on the side of Wonderland here, so they're not going to have that guaranteed tower stop. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, but I think that they are probably looking at... I'm not sure, actually, I would have picked Slosher Deco on this either. I'm not sure how helpful Ball is for this kind of thing.
It's kind of okay for the push in if you want to be really aggressive on the right side as the tower's pushing from the left, because you can kind of get like a nice spawn flank, but it's really not as good on this mode, especially versus like zones or something else.
And I think Vanilla in this case would be nice to have those missiles. You can target tower and keep that kind of in your control. Go ahead.
But the push started there for Euphoria. Does get shut down pretty quickly there, so Wonderland doing a good job of holding on there, and now they're trying to get the map control back in order to push in here. Not quite in position to push the left side, but that Tenatech does get picked off pretty early. If this Tenatech wins this fight here, not quite able to, so that's going to be a 3v3 scenario as they get into this first checkpoint with the Dynamo. But this is what I was talking about with the Dynamo. If that's the person riding tower, they're going to be able to harass in front of them really, really well. But Haiku doing a really good job of shutting down the rest of the team, so that doesn't really do much.
Yeah, that's where you have to be kind of aware. If you don't have someone defending you on tower, then that's going to kind of be effectively end of a push. But working forward, they do get taken out before they're able to do much more than what they already have. So it looks like this is kind of the opportunity that Wonderland could be looking for to kind of continue with their push.
Yeah, I mean, both teams look like they're just doing the same thing. Like they'll get that wipe or 3 down, and then they'll start trying to do their own push, but don't quite execute correctly, and the enemy team's able to push right back. So it's been basically 2 minutes of just pushing back into each other, and neither team really getting many points out of it.
Yeah, I think that this is where having that Stingray come out too, but unfortunately, I think they just weren't able to use it to their advantage.
Full wipe there on the side of Wonderland. This is going to be a good push here for Euphoria, especially with Noob here on tower, able to harass this left side. They are stacking a little hard left, though, so this is going to open up Wonderland to be able to push into the right. Doesn't look like... Oh, yep. Katya able to slow down tower there. That's a 2v2 scenario, so yeah, they're going to be able to shut this down. So even still, not that great of a push. They do get through that checkpoint, so maybe their next one will be a little better, but not quite able to execute those pushes correctly.
Yeah, I think having those checkpoints to your advantage definitely helps, but you're right. Like, if you don't have execution ready and you're not prepared to kind of go in, then it's going to be tough. And here, this ball player is the only one alive, and they unfortunately don't get any of the picks that they might be going for with that.
Yeah, wow, I'm surprised he didn't clean up the jet sculpture there, and then he does get cleaned up by the jet sculpture from the left side. Nice sneaky play there, and that puts 3 down on the side of Wonderland, and it's going to be the next push here for Euphoria. And as we said, getting through that checkpoint opens up this push to be a lot stronger. So now they're pushing in. They're almost to the second checkpoint here, and they have 3 down again. So this is actually looking like a really sick push here.
Yeah, I think that this could kind of almost be a game-winning push if they're able to keep Wonderland out of what's going on. Looks like Mary is coming around, trying to get a couple of those picks. Does get one, but does get taken out by the blaster.
Yeah, but trades right now are pretty good for them, and now they get pushed all the way down to 5, which is a
Nice.
killer push on this map. It's very hard to get to that point. So, especially since they haven't even gotten past the first checkpoint themselves. So this is going to be a very tough battle to climb here for Wonderland.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely kind of Euphoria's game to take here. They just need to continue to be as kind of organized as they have been. That Dynamo, like you were saying, is doing a lot of work, making sure that they're trying to get back in on the side of Wonderland, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, the main thing Euphoria just needs to make sure they do here is not play too passively. The biggest thing about tower control is once the enemy team is behind, they get special advantage, and that just lets them get huge pushes for basically free. But they do a pretty good job there. They do clean up too, and they burn specials at the same time. So this is going to buy them some time. They only have 40 seconds left to make a really good push here, and Mary's able to shark aggressively here, and this is probably going to be game if Gatia is not able to do that. Okay, so Roundy, the only one in position to do anything. 20 seconds to go. It's looking kind of grim here.
Especially with Mary sharking over there, decides to jump back to spawn, I believe, and kind of break back out just to kind of get out of mid. And it looks like we finally have 2 members of Wonderland on tower, but...
clean up that inkjet. Not quite. Not quite able to do that. That's kind of the difference between a potential overtime push and not being able to do it. Nobody on tower there. That is going to end it. So that's a nice 3-0 there from Euphoria.
Great job.
Some signs of life there from the team, but not quite enough to really take anything. So, Euphoria coming out with the win.
Yeah, great job from them there. So kind of I just want to take a second. This is round 5, right? So we've seen a lot of great gameplay today. Are there any teams that have jumped out at you that you're like, hey, the next time we do a tournament, I'm going to see this team?
The ones that stood out to me a little bit was Killer Bees definitely showed more life than the standings gave them credit for, I think. The Penguin was doing pretty well on the blaster there, and they were definitely very coordinated there. So... they're doing a lot better than you'd expect. And Rose Knight also was doing really, really well. And they actually just played each other, and Rose Knight took that set 3-1.
Oh, nice.
So, while we wait for round 6 here, our final round of the day, by the way, so make sure you stay tuned. We'll be deciding which game we play or watch next, and so we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back soon.
See you soon.